Hell yeah,
dude.
dude. Welcome in, Hawg. Big cheers, man. I'm getting the seat warm for you, brother. Keeping it warm, but Lilith is definitely, she won't be on the show next time. Sorry, Hog. She's coming home with me after this. And the thing she's saying, man. But other than that, it should be a good show, I'm sure.
At the same time.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, never mind. She'll be here, man. I'll be in the back.
So funny.
Crazy, man. Welcome in, Hog.
Behave, Lilith.
I don't know if I can talk about this. No. And you can see that they're interested in changing, you know, at least updating and keeping Diablo 2 feeling good. You can see that in, you know, some of the patch notes in recent history. They actually tried adding WASD movement to the game and have fun with it. Like, they were so elated for an item like Enigma to come on the scene, and then flash forward like 10, 15 years later, people are like, Enigma ruined the game, and you know, Enigma's bad, and it's like, what? Well, they didn't say
that's what you said at the start,
it.
right?
Yeah, they were like, we just want you to change the part where you're talking about RMT, so that who isn't like, what game is this? Like, you know, like, holy shit, what? You're kidding me? Like, you play the game and you sell shit in the game from a AAA company, and you sign me up. Where the fuck? Where can I get this game? Whatever you're smelling up there. I think your perfume rubbed off in the bathroom, right? I'm gonna say that. Sick. I actually like this, man. This interactive game. This is really cool. So this is like what is usually done here, what you're aiming to do like all the time. People like interactively playing games and winning prizes. This is so wild. This is such a great stream, dude. That looks like 4 penises.
So as a veteran player, right, what are the biggest changes do you think in D2R compared to the actual vanilla game that you either love or hate?
Dude, there's so many. There's some people still that like played LOD and they're just like, D2R is so different, man. I can't get into it. It's a very small amount of people that say that, but some people still do. But there are a lot, man. Mainly it comes down to like you can tell it's obviously designed on like a different engine. They had to remake the thing from scratch. And some of the things are just weird. Like I talked about some in a recent video about, for example, the smite animation with the paladin used to look like something. Like, you know what I mean? You would come over the top with your shield and you would just bash your opponent, like, you know, right down on him. And now it's like this weird outwards like parry animation that just looks like you're blocking something. Like it's just, you know, so like certain things like that just don't look or feel right. There's certain skills that don't work the same as they did in LOD. You know, some are better, some are worse. So like for leap, for example, like it's a barbarian skill where you're like, you basically jump into the air, and when you land, it will knock back and stun your targets. Well, like it used to be that you could take these like little short leaps in Diablo 2 and like just keep basically spamming leap. But they fixed that in D2R where your barbarian takes like a necessary high jump and then lands. So like they kind of slowed that down a little bit. There's like faster hit recovery changes in recent patches that, you know, some people like, most people don't, you know, especially the PvP players. But, you know, there's subtle changes. There's certain like, you know, I call like certain quirks about the game that just aren't quite like the original, but most players can look past them, you know, for the most part.
Surprise, Hog's actually rating us now as well. So we had a bunch of technical issues. We're gonna be doing the same thing with Hog soon. But fuck yeah, man.
Hell yeah, dude. Welcome in, Hog. Big cheers, man. I'm getting the seat warm for you, brother. Keeping it warm, but Lilith is definitely, she won't be on the show next time. Sorry, Hog. She's coming home with me after this, all right? Sorry about it. We've already worked it out. You should have heard the thing she's saying, man. But other than that, it should be a good show, I'm sure.
At the same time.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, never mind. She'll be here, man. I'll be in the back.
So funny.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Welcome in, Hawg.
Behave, Lilith. Oh my god. Do you actually think Blizzard has more updates coming to D2R, or do you think it's just like that's it, slow down on content?
uh, I don't know. I don't know if I can talk about this. No,
Or do you
I
actually have like insider info about it?
I well, I wouldn't say I know anything that anyone doesn't know, but like as a when you're in the community in the way that some of us are in it, like you meet some very interesting individuals and have some conversations and stuff, and it seems as though I'll say this, like it seems as though there is a big interest in Diablo 2, and specifically with regard to updating the game in some way. I don't think that's going to come in the form of a huge update like, some people think. Like, I don't think we're getting an Act 6. I don't think we're getting a new class or anything. But like, I think that, well, there definitely is a team of devs like that are committed to legacy games, and D2 being one of them. And I can tell you it's definitely on their radar. We've submitted some feedback from the community, that was pretty well received, and of just things that are wrong, or that some people would like to see updated. And I covered that in a recent video, but I think this won't fall on deaf ears, at least. Like, I think that they're gonna hear it and take it into consideration. At least that's my hope. And you can see that they're interested in changing, at least updating and keeping Diablo 2 feeling good. You can see that in some of the patch notes in recent history. They actually tried adding WASDA movement to the game. Didn't go so well, but the fact that they're trying to do that is also a piece of evidence that you can see, like, they are interested in making slow and steady changes to this game. But if I was a betting man, I would say eventually, if I had to guess, probably within the next year, I think we'll see like kind of a patch that might address some community concerns. But again, like I said, I don't know anything necessarily that anybody else doesn't know. It's just using my gut instinct that, like, okay, from what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, who I'm talking to, that's a possibility. Like, that's a real possibility.
That's good to hear. Dude, one thing for me is like inventory space. That inventory space, I just like, I don't know if some people like to play Tetris every minute, but I don't, honestly.
I don't
You
mind
know,
it. I don't mind it, but a currency tab or something like that is a big suggestion in the community, which
charms.
is it's weird because, like, every other game has that. Like, every other ARPG has gone with like a currency tab, and one up for Diablo 2 for kind of holding out and not doing what everybody else does. Like, it was the original, loot game to a lot of ARPG players. So like, they don't really have to, but man, what a huge statement that would be if they actually did like bring in a currency tab. You
I,
can
I
put
think
your
just the
runes in it and
charms
shit.
tab, because like when your whole inventory is charms, and then you've got the bloody heraldic cube, and you're trying to put everything in there that you pick up, you've only got space for like one or two items, right? And everything else is your charms
Yeah.
for your
So you
buffs.
like the charm inventory thing, huh?
I would prefer the game with it, yeah, to be honest,
No
personally.
kidding, man. Yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I actually don't like charm inventories, because I feel as though the charm of Diablo 2 is it's the game that made you make sacrifices for power, right? Like,
Right.
if you can't have everything in Diablo 2. Like, if you want to magic find and pick things up, you have to make space in your inventory. If you want to be more powerful and cap your character out to the point where like you are doing the most amount of damage, you are going to sacrifice your ability to pick more items up, which totally makes sense to me. It's like a
I see
one
your
to one
perspective.
this yeah, like, okay, I'm sacrificing inventory space for power. So now,
Hmm.
yep, I will have to go to town if I want to try to do both here and be a magic finder and have power. But the beautiful part is it isn't like the game, it isn't like you need to deck out your inventory with charms if you're just magic finding, right? Like,
Right.
you don't necessarily need to. Like, the game, if whether you do it on P1 or P8, I can show you any build that I could clear an inventory and wreck P8 with it. So it's like you technically could uh, put as much space in your inventory as you wanted, but you're making a sacrifice. And I actually kind of like that trade off.
Yeah, okay. I didn't really consider it that way. I guess for me it's just quality of life as I play. Like I just want to kill stuff. I don't want to go back to town constantly, but it makes sense where like if it's almost more role playing in a sense because your bag is full of charms, so you can't really fit additional stuff. And sometimes you might even want to chuck a charm out if it's not worth that much, and you just want to pick this up and save a bit of time. Does make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm keen to see
Interesting
what.
debate. There's a lot of PD2 players that in Project Diablo 2 they did that. Like, they have the
Yeah.
charm inventory and then the regular inventory. So like your charms only work if they're in a certain part of your inventory.
Right.
And so they did it both, but I personally just think it's ugly. Like, when you pop it open and there's so much space there, and it's like, yeah, again, it just goes back to making choices and making sacrifices.
Mm.
And it's not just about the inventory there. Like with Diablo 2, it's the itemization forces you to do that too. Like you get two sets of gloves that give you faster cast rate, and if you want IAS and faster cast rate, you're gonna have to make a decision on your glove spot, right? Like it's a decision you have to make for the build, and I think it's a very charming thing. Like, it's a game where you can't have everything on a build. Like, it's very hard for some builds to hit all the breakpoints that they need to. The crazier you try to make your build, like, the harder it is to hit all the breakpoints, and that it totally makes sense. Like, I'm not a huge fan of games just making it easy for players to do everything. Like, making the choices is what it's all about.
What about like the full-on immune monsters? Because every time I
Yeah,
play through the game, that like I can see how yes, it kind of makes it so no matter how overpowered you are, unless you have that like penetration charm, you will get some stuff that's hard to kill, but you need like random abilities that don't really make sense for your build. And I just sometimes feel like this is so annoying, like when I'm just starting out, right? A new character.
Yeah. Well, you know why that is, right? Like with the immunities is like they have been addressing those since the early days of D2, and somewhere along the way they thought it was a great idea to jack some of the resistances of monsters through the roof. So like that's how they're not only are they immune to a certain element, but it's almost impossible to make them not immune to it. Which part of the feedback that I sent to Blizzard, after compiling a whole bunch of stuff from a lot of people, was that are you familiar with Sunder Charms? I'll ask that first. Like the
the one that lets you penetrate the immunity, right?
Yeah. So like that's how a lot of people do it these days. When you have a Sunder Charm for a certain element, let's say it's a cold Sunder, it will take away the enemy's cold resistance and set their resistance to 95. Right? Like, so now it's technically broken, and you can lower it even more if you want to. But it's sort of like a band-aid on a bullet wound, because if you kind of back up a little bit and you say, well, why were those resistances so high in the first place? Like, some monsters' cold resistance is like above 200%. There is no way in the game to like break that cold resistance. And it doesn't make any sense as a new player, much kind of like what you alluded to, is if you're going through, like, you try all of these things and you can't really break the resistance, like, and it doesn't make sense. To me, that's what needs to be fixed. Like, that was part of the feedback. It was like, Sunder Charms aren't really necessary. Like, you just need to fix the resistance of monsters.
Yeah, I reckon straight up get rid of the immunity and all that, because let's say I was playing like a Necro Poison Nova, and I'm going around, and I had the bloody vampire set just for fun, float around, firewall as well. But even with that, number one, it made no sense to me why I've got crap like Fireball that does like 1 damage. Like, how does that even make sense? And then I'm Poison Nova, everything, and then there's like a poison immunity mob, and now I've got to handle this white mob if I want to kill him for like half a minute, and it's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, all right.
Yeah,
Well, if
I
hopefully
also
it
like
gets.
the immunities too, though, as crazy as it is, because so I recently, I say recently, it's probably a number of months ago now, but I played through on the original 1.07 version of Diablo 2, and you think immunities are bad now. Like they used to be insane. Like Lord
Mm,
Desace, the Act 4 monster that spawns from one of the seals. I was on a sorceress and I did 2 types of hybrid damage with the ability to do 3, and friggin' Desace was immune to every element. Like there was nothing that I could do. I was like had to just re-roll the dice and start over in a new game to like see if you just rolled differently. So that is a little much. However, that is certainly a challenge that I think the devs in the original version of Diablo 2 were trying to capture. Because otherwise, if you think, let's imagine for a second we took out immunities in Diablo 2. What's the real difference between Hell difficulty and Nightmare besides just the
mm,
level of your character and the skills that you put in? Right? Like
yeah, I guess that's why
the
they're being really cautious because it is actually a big part of the game. Like you know that when you play D2R, you're going to be dealing with these immunity mobs, and you don't really get that anywhere else. So I do see that maybe I guess like Project Diablo, maybe she's trialing a lot of stuff, and it's almost really good for Blizzard to just see, you know what, this works, that kind of doesn't. People kind of like this, and I just hope they have something there to play because I don't think the game should just stop getting updates. Honestly, if it got a good amount of updates, it's healthy. You know, look, people are playing Diablo 3, people are playing Diablo 4, people are playing Diablo 2. The more the merrier, right? No, like
yeah,
nobody in the ARPG space is just really going to focus only on one of them. You know, they might have
yeah,
that as their main one, but they'll still go and try the other ones. So the more there are, the better. And I think even with PoE and Last Epoch, like if they kind of gave each other a bit of space, almost like a gentleman's agreement. Like there was that whole thing where PoE kind of released at the same time as Last Epoch. I think that's a little bit kind of like why, you know, just give each other space. There's plenty of players for everybody. We want to actually play all your games, but when you're releasing stuff all at the same time, or you're not like updating all of them, aka PoE 1 when you've got PoE 2, you're kind of annoying people because we actually just want to play all of them, right?
right,
So,
yeah.
all right. Well, how about like, is there any update that you personally really want to see for D2R? Something that would like really get people in?
Yeah, man. I think like I will echo what a lot of people say. I'm kind of behind it. There's a big call to action for Blizzard to update some of the underutilized uniques
Uh
and
huh. Yep.
underutilized set items. And I
Yep.
think if done properly, that could be a very healthy thing because they're really like uniques and sets really do fall short in a lot of regards. Like, and I think if done properly, if done responsibly, right, like not letting power creep kick into it, but keeping what I talked about before, like with the choices, like they give you choices, they give you options, and you make sacrifices. Like keeping that sort of mentality in mind with updating, uniques and some of the set items, it would be incredible. Um,
Yeah.
in
It's
that
kind of like,
feedback that I sent,
yep.
uh, I was gonna say in that feedback that I sent, like I didn't try to hijack the conversation with him. I didn't try to hijack and insert my own ideas, and I feel like sometimes content creators do that. So they're like, all right, you know what? I have a closer stance than most with the devs, so I'm gonna tell them what I want for changes, and
Yeah.
I hate that. Like I feel like that ruins games. So like instead, what I did was in the feedback that I submitted, I said people are asking for updated uniques and set items, and I think to some degree, if done responsibly, this could be good. And I was like, feel free to get creative with this, and do your thing, right? Surprise us to some degree, but instead of telling them what to do with the items and saying like, here, this is what this should have and this is what this should have, instead I told them what not to do. I was like, don't add power creep to the items in this very specific way. I was like, we don't need like plus to O skills like fade and holy shield on these items. Like that's so powerful. Or like energy shield. Like don't put that on items. Like there's no need there's no need for all classes to have those skills. Like those are unique. They are very key part of the game balance. Like don't put those skills on anything. But like if you want to get creative, try teleport in other places besides Enigma. Try faster cast rate differences on different items or whatnot. Feel free, surprise us. You know what I mean? Like do your thing. The way I put it is I was like, I trust that your devs are, they wouldn't have got the job if they didn't appreciate Diablo 2 and know it for what it is and have their own experience. Like use your magic, put it out there, give us a PTR, let us check it out and surprise us. But this is what people are asking for. So instead of like saying this is what you should do and this is what an item should look like, I was just like, get creative. We know you are. You've done a great job with some of the rune words in the past that you've added. Just don't do these things. Like don't screw up the game balance like way beyond belief. Like and just take a shot. Like give it your best.
What about just removing teleport?
Bad idea, man.
Bad idea.
Bad idea. Yeah. Did you ever play Diablo 2 back in the days of like before the expansion or even in the early days
but I was very young.
Yeah. So like it was a different game, and for a lot of us, I'm sure some of us played it back in that time, but like we weren't pushing it like we are now, right? Like we weren't building builds like we are now with a full understanding of what's so powerful and all of that. And now looking through it with like rose-colored glasses, we can see how powerful teleport is, right? Like we can see, okay, teleport using the item Enigma is extremely powerful. Like, wow, it's on every end game build that I have. It has, Enigma, because wow, teleport must be broken because every class uses Enigma or every class teleports, right? But
that's the thing. If everybody's sorry to interrupt, but like if everybody's using something, either give it to do you know what I mean? Either give it to everybody or just remove it, because why is everybody just using the same thing?
Yeah. I mean, I would be in favor of giving it to everybody, but I also like the fact of giving it to them in the form of an item like Enigma. Again, making you sacrifice your entire armor slot for this. Like there's no the real problem is we don't have any options for Enigma. Like we don't have any alternative. So it's like you're always sacrificing that because it is such a good change and it does make a lot of builds what they are. But we don't really have any other options. Like, yeah, it's just like that's what it has to be. But to give you like a little bit of a look back then of like if you go back now and you play like version 1.07, the first version of the game, and you try to do like a playthrough with a class, right? You will notice such a speed difference and such a like you will notice such an obvious difference between playing through on the sorceress and playing through on any other class.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that those classes are bad or delivering, bad damage. It's just they don't have the mobility that the sorceress has.
Mm.
And it's so pronounced, it's so different that the early devs, and especially with regard to PvP, because people were doing that quite a bit in the early days. It was the end game, right? Like it was the first end game. You dial up online, you duel your friends. That was like the only thing. They were doing that quite a bit in the more, but sorceresses were still just dominating. You had two builds. You had the Amazon and you had the sorceress. Those were really the only two PvP builds that would dominate the pub games. The sorceress because she could just outmaneuver everything, and the Amazon because she could shoot arrows halfway across the map and touch the sorceress no matter what. Right? Like that was it. And the Barb, too slow. Necro, too slow. Paladin, too slow. Charge, yep, not fast enough, man. See you later. Like, so instead of reworking, the original vision of the game and what teleport should be, the 1.10 patch developers were like, let's just make it so that every class can eventually obtain teleport.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny to see the change in sentiment from then until now, because when Enigma came out, the community was elated. They were like, oh yes, you guys are finally doing something epic for this game. I can't wait to get this armor. Like, this is insane. Thank you for fixing my off meta build, my hammered in that was just slow, my barbarian that was just obnoxiously slow, my necro I can use now and like farm things and have fun with it. Like, they were so elated for an item like Enigma to come on the scene, and then flash forward like 10-15 years later, people are like, Enigma ruined the game, and Enigma's bad, and it's like, what? Like, it's
takes
so
up a
funny
whole
to see
slot.
the change in sentiment. Yeah, so
But
it's
you can
very
use
interesting. But
what I was using is because I don't want to take up a whole chest slot, and because I want to theory craft a bit more, so I was just using that staff that you swap to, like in your weapon swap. That was like,
Nauseous Puzzler.
yeah,
Yep.
good enough for me. So, and
Yeah.
that's like a trade-off, right? Well, you got to refill the charges, you got to do the annoying weapon swap, but you get to kind of keep your chest. Um, but I don't know. It's look, probably not many people are going to agree with me. I would just remove teleport, to be honest. I reckon
Get
like
rid of
just,
it.
just get rid of it.
Gone.
It's too like just even with the PvP, right? You're just teleporting on top of trying to teleport on top of each other and teleporting through the maps, like almost like twitching through it. I don't know. For me, I think it would be interesting to see how balanced the game would be without teleport, where you've got to like run through everything, and each class kind of has similar mobility like that. And then you've got more opportunity for different mobility skills, like how you said charge, dashes on the assassin and whatnot, actually being effective mobility skills because they don't have to compete with something that is just on another level, right? So,
Yeah.
but anyway,
Yeah, I
that's
think
just
also like from a viewer standpoint too, like I mean Diablo 2 was the original was not made in the same era as games now,
yeah,
right? And even if you look at teleport in games like Diablo 4, teleport looks way better in Diablo 4. Like, it
mm,
just the smoothness of it, I've always said that I bet the entire sentiment surrounding teleport in Diablo 2 would have been so much different. It would be so much different to this day if your screen just like after you casted teleport, your screen caught up with your character. Like,
yeah, like
instead
you're
of blinking
moving
to it,
towards it.
yep, you teleport and the screen catches up. Like teleport, catch up. Just imagine how different watching PvP would be. You would see
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
the
would be nicer.
scrolling screen of like chasing players running all around the
Agreed.
map, and like teleport would feel different. You know what I mean? And but I think teleport is an incredible movement skill. I think it should be in more games, but the it certainly it leads to some weird viewing experiences in Diablo 2. Like,
Yeah.
it's I can totally see that.
Yeah, you could have them go into like a little orb and then kind of fly there real quick. But yeah, all right. And I see what people
Yeah.
are saying in the chat, kind of like once you've walked the whole game, you don't really want to go and walk the whole thing again. But look, you
Right.
can run pretty damn fast with the right items. Like you can speed through the game in endgame without teleport, honestly. You can move pretty damn quickly. Um,
Yeah.
all right. So you've streamed like a couple other ARPGs and whatnot as well. What do you think, like compared to D2R, some of these new games? How does it really compare? Community as
Good
well,
question, man.
gameplay.
Like, yeah, like it's interesting. Diablo 2 and D2R, even the remake existed in a whole different era, like kind of much like we've alluded to, and there's so much influence in modern ARPGs that you can look right back at Diablo 2 and see where they got all of their influence from. Like look at PoE 2 for example. Like Act 1 takes place in a forest. You start in an encampment,
Hmm.
right? Diablo 2 takes place in the forest. You start in an encampment, like, in Act 1. Act 2, it's a desert, right? It's a big desert. You're moving all around the desert. It's a very bright area, bright desert feel. That's exactly what it is in PoE 2. Act 3 is in the jungle. Like, you don't even, they're not even hiding it, right? Like, they're like, yeah, okay, we were influenced by Diablo 2 here. So I think that influence is very prevalent in a lot of games. But the big difference, I think, is games nowadays with ARPGs are really trying to abuse the dopamine, right? Like abuse the dopamine hits. And by that I mean like there's so much loot. Like you look at the D4 loot, even like D3, D4, hell, even PoE to some degree, like maybe to a lesser degree. PoE actually does well with this, but like there's no point to finding rare items in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. Magic items, basic items, there's just no point. They're all trash.
Yeah, dude, I agree with you. The white and blue items, what the, like, just get rid of them, honestly. Like, it's just clutter. Yeah, okay, you can salvage it, whatever, but why? You know, like, and as well, the vendors. Why is the vendor selling white items?
Yeah, stupid.
Do you know what I mean?
But they're leaning into like the dopamine hits where people, there was some meeting at some point where like the devs of these games were like, you know what players really love? They love finding unique items. And then they just doubled down on that, and they were like, all right, we're just going to make it so that unique items and legendaries and shit, they just drop all the time, and the dopamine hits are going to be crazy. But the thing is, it's the dopamine hits in Diablo 2, they hit way different because you're not guaranteed to even find an item from a monster that you kill, right? Like even a boss that you kill, like even a mini boss can literally drop nothing sometimes. Like it's rare, but it's possible, right? And even if you found a unique, like, yeah, that's exciting. Like, wow, I found a unique, but that's not all of what you get excited for. You see a rune drop and you're like, oh, sweet, I needed that rune. Or, oh, wow, that's a high rune. Like, that's a great one. Or you see a rare item drop and you're like, oh, is it ethereal? You like get excited, you pick it up. Holy shit, it's ethereal. Like you ID it. It's a whole different level of excitement. You see a magic item drop and you're like, yep, that could actually be good. Like that could be best in slot for my Zon. Like, and it's like the itemization is so much different and the dopamine hits are so much rarer in Diablo 2 that like that's where I think a lot of newer games miss the mark. And PoE 2 almost nailed this. I think like in their current end game there is like a lot of loot. Like I haven't actually got to the end game, but I watch a lot of people who have played it. I got through the game, played it, like kind of beat it, I guess you could say, but never really jammed in the end game. I just watched what people do, like watched what they made for builds. I didn't even use a build guide when I played through on PoE 2, just like figure it out myself, And I see the loot that drops for them, and I'm like, that's like, I was kind of disappointed because I was like, all throughout playing the game in PoE 2, I was like, you guys nailed it. Like you guys did what these other games aren't daring to do, and that is cut the friggin' loot back. Like, don't show me something every chest that I open or like every boss that I kill. Like, just make this actually feel good when I find it. Like, wow, I better make this rare work because it's a rare item. I better make this legendary work and build my build around it because I've never found anything else. Like, that is an ARPG that, in modern ARPGs, the cadence and timing of gameplay has changed quite a bit. It's all about they're taking into account the people who are blasting through the game and, just trying to slay everything, which in my opinion is not how RPGs in general are supposed to be played. Like they're supposed to be kind of taken at your own pace. You solve problems, you solve puzzles, sometimes with the help of other players, sometimes by changing your build. They're meant to be like this challenging thing that feels rewarding when you finally do kill the boss. It's not, if you get to a point where you can farm a boss, it feels like, okay, this is my job with this character. I can do it really well. I can go farm Mephisto, and this is what I'm going to build this character for. That's its job, right? Like, but in modern ARPGs, it's just like, if my character can't kill everything in the game, one-shotting it and destroying screens, it's like, what is this game, man? We need to balance this. We need to fix this game. And it's like, as a longtime D2 player, I'm like, I don't know, like characters need a point, like they need a purpose, and you need collaboration and take it at a slower pace, I can see your avatar's mouth moving again, but I can't hear the sound. Just want to give you the heads up. Yeah, no worries, man. Well, yeah, it just gives me more time to go on this point, right? Like D2, slow the goddamn games down, right? Like we don't need to be. It's cool when you can make a character that blasts through everything, but that shouldn't be the goal. Like that shouldn't be what we aim for all the time. I don't think. Now, what do you guys think? Is that what you appreciate about ARPGs? Smashing and trashing?
I think I'm
Who
back.
knows, man? Hell yeah, man. You bet.
Okay, dude, that's like every half an hour. All right, I've really got to look into that. All right. What I was trying to say is like 100% with uniques, right? If you just look at the dictionary meaning of it, if somebody comes to a meeting and says, let's make it so uniques drop 2, 3 times more, all you gotta do is pull out the dictionary and being like, let's read what unique means, right? And then you've also got like PoE 2. When I first started playing that game, dude, me and Kitrix were like, wow, this could just be the best ARPG right now because it's challenging. Like it's actually hard, which I remember later people were just full complaining about it being way too hard. I liked it. I liked the difficulty. I liked the difficulty of the bosses, the mobs, everything. But then I saw like even in the first release of it, even when people were saying it's too hard and before it was nerfed, there were builds that were off screening bosses. So by the time they see the boss, it's already a corpse. Like, and it's like, this is a
crazy.
great build. It just, is that fun?
Not to me, man. Like
Yeah,
that's I don't know.
exactly.
It was crazy. Like I think also here's the thing that I kind of feel bad for game devs these days because with the power of the internet, everybody has an opinion,
Yeah.
and it's hard to weight them. Right? Like you get feedback, you get responses from, all right, if you see a bug or want to contact the devs, do it here. And they get just flooded with feedback and, compile that on top of content creators complaining about stuff. And they're not all created equal, right? Like, and one person, even the really good ones might have differing opinions. Me and Llama, for example, I would consider ourselves both informed Diablo 2 players, right? Like we kind of know the game a lot in and out. And some things we blatantly disagree on as to like what's good and what's bad. That's okay, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. But how bad is it for a game dev? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's rough.
And people
that's
hate
a tough
companies.
spot to be in.
Straight up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Blizzard, right? Anytime TCM gets shit, we just remind ourselves like, look, people love like people playing Diablo, people playing PoE, people playing Last Epoch are also like hating on the companies that make them. So if people hate on us, like it's just normal. And I think it's sad that it is normal. Like why, right? It's not companies are not just some magical thing that operates itself. There are a lot of people's hearts being broken in companies when you've got, PoE 2 had the like mostly negative reviews over like whatever, some difficulty thing when they've just released the game. Like there are people wanting to cry there in that company, regardless of how big or whatever it is. Same as Blizzard, people are getting fired, all that stuff, and it's people's lives, and they're putting in so much effort. You just see like the models and animations and the sound effects these days, dude. These people are artists. Like that shit is something, and I honestly believe in the developers were like obviously they want to do the best they can. Maybe not everything is right. They don't hit the nail in the head for the community, but there are systems like that are programmed in a way where you might not understand that some of the things you want are not necessarily even going to be possible, or they could just very easily make other things a lot worse as well. So I don't know. I just always give game developers the benefit of the doubt. I just like to see what are the good things about this game, right? Rather than just picking out all the crap stuff and just
with PoE 2 in particular, I watched a couple of the streams where the devs were talking, and I was actually blown away because it seemed like they had the correct mentality with it too, which was like I was really blown away by PoE 2 devs. I was like, these guys seemingly don't give a shit about players saying the game is too hard. Like at least at first it seemed like that, and I was like, good. Like build the game in the way that you see it.
Mm.
Like, don't
Yeah.
listen to everybody else and be like, oh, this game is too hard, man. I'm gonna quit. Fucking quit. Who cares? Like, the game wasn't made for you. Like, like it's okay to have a difficult game. And some people, everybody's gonna have a different experience with it. Like when I fired up PoE 2 and was playing through, I remember some people being like, dude, the first boss is just gonna gank you. It's so hard. I remember going through, I was like 2 or 3 hours in and I was like, where's this first boss you're talking about? Annihilating shit. Like, I played Diablo 2, like, you know what I mean? I was like building my characters, just kind of learning. I felt like some of that knowledge converted over, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you already passed it." It was like, it was the centipede guy. I was like, "Oh, that was like easy. You just had to, move."
Yeah.
It's like, it was crazy, but like people have different experiences with it. So, and that was with me. Again, I didn't follow any build guides. That was how I played PoE 2. I was like, I'm not going to look at anybody's build guide. I don't care if you tell me this is the best build, this is how you should level through. I was like, I want to feel this game like I felt Diablo 2 back in the day. Like, I'm just gonna guess, and if I'm right, I'm right. If I'm not, whatever. Like, I'll learn, And I got through the game. Like, I beat the game. I didn't like. There was some parts that were very challenging, and what did I do? Instead of going and finding a build guide, I looked at my build and I was like, what's wrong with this? Like, what's? And I'm like, oh yeah, I have the same gear that I had at level 2. Like, it makes sense. Like, maybe my gear is the problem. And like, so I'm like, okay, how do I get better gear? Like, I go to the vendors, I'm looking around, like, oh shit, I can upgrade with these things right here. That's part of the journey for these, like for these games, right? And a lot of people just don't have the patience to do that these days. Like, if it isn't in the build guide or they don't understand something about it, it's just like immediately something's wrong with this game, man. This is too hard. It's too hard. I can't figure this out. It's not right in front of my face. And it's like, I actually applauded the PoE devs at first for, being like,
I'm
okay,
always trying to do some janky stuff, some janky build. Like I really try my best not to look at a build, and everybody's just like, why? But even when I play Magic, like I just have to be playing my own deck. Otherwise, it just feels robotic to me. It's like I've spent $500 on this deck, which is an exact copy on the internet, and basically I'm just playing like a robot here. And it's the same with any builds. Um, Obviously, like good job to anybody that's pumping out really really good builds there. The things that I use those builds for is to see to make combinations, right, between, okay, this person's doing this on his necro and this other guy's doing something else. How can I like combine the bits and pieces, use a little bit for my build? But just directly copying, I don't know, I don't really believe in it. What you were saying with like developers staying true to themselves no matter what people say, this is hits me hard because, all right, you see, TCM, right? The website is red, and it's not just like red where like it's black and there's a bit of red here and there, and it's gone through multiple kind of changes in how it looks. But people are always telling me like, dude, like nobody does red. Why is your website red? Like everybody does like blue and gray and white and black and all this. And I'm like, because it's the crimson market. And we're making a bold statement by making it red. And red is very hard color to work with. Like you might have a lot of different font that's hard to see. But I still believe like over time, as we iron it out, we can be like one of, because it's almost looks like kind of Steam but red, right? Or Discord but
yeah,
red. And we can be like the ones that actually manage to figure out how to make red work. So I just go, look, like it's red. Maybe people don't like it, but it's the crimson market. And same with
yeah.
how our trade works. Like people were saying filters, you need filters. Like every website like this has filters. And I'm like, well, that's the thing, right? If we have filters, we're like every other website. And we tried filters in the beginning for D4, and yeah, it was working and all that. But I was like, look, like I honestly think that if not this year, next year, or the year after that, nobody's gonna be using filters to find stuff. You have AI that is just gonna keep getting better. For example, when you go on Google, right? You don't start clicking on filters to find what you want. You just type it in. Same as Amazon and eBay and all that stuff, right? You don't go on
Exactly.
Amazon and you're looking for a mouse and you go computer, peripherals, mouses, Razer. You know what I mean? You just go Razer
Yeah.
mouse in the search, right? And I believe that in games for trading items, you can very well have the same type of thing. And that's what
Oh
we're
yeah.
trying to accomplish. And after we tried filters once, I was just like, what are we doing? We're just doing what everybody else is doing. Let's just stick to what we believe, even if it takes a year and everybody's asking like, what the hell is wrong with you? Eventually
Right.
people will see, holy shit, this actually works. I've just typed in a word, because you can even do stats in our magic search, right? You can be like
Yeah.
10 to 30 strength gloves, and it will find you gloves with 10 to 20 strength, and it's just through the search. So, and we can make that more powerful. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
dude. Well, I was actually blown away by that too when I first like put items on TCM, and I was like, all right, how good is this? And at first I didn't see the filters either. I was like, how am I going to find this? And then I just like, you can type in like Paladin 20 FCR and it knows what you're talking about. Like it literally has read the item, the screenshot of the item,
yep.
and knows that 20 FCR is in this item. And so is the word Paladin. So it's like, boom, returns a amulet, like helms, all of this. And it's like, oh shit, if I type like amulet, will it narrow it down? It's like, yep, holy
Yeah,
shit. Like,
I,
this is crazy, man. Like this
I,
is, instead of having to figure out filters, which, is kind of a practice in and of its own with, with different
yeah.
sites that do it. It's just like simple. Yeah.
In
Yeah, I like that,
fact,
man. Keep it up. Don't listen to those haters.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've got a massive search guide page now, and I think one of the problems is for people to understand how it really works, especially because you can put multiple stats and the stat ranges. So, like, 5 to 20 critical damage, 10 to 5 strength, ring, and it will find things in this range. But it's kind of hard to first understand how you do it. What we recently added is we have an AI that's now trained on the actual guide of the search. So then when you input a search, that AI gives you recommendations and says, like, oh, well, you could try it like this, and you can start getting into the more advanced stuff. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, that's dope, man.
um, let's get into monetization and trust. I think this is such an interesting one for people that want to, get into this digital world. And I really think, especially with AI, that's going to be changing everybody's job. Honestly, it's only just beginning to shake things up. And for people listening out there, I'm actually an artificial intelligence strategist at a pretty large international bank. Slight brag there, but I've got to tell you, based on what enterprise leadership is saying, a lot of things are going to change. People's jobs are going to change. They're not going to necessarily be replaced, but things are going to change. Like the big companies are only just starting to understand how to utilize AI to basically operate their entire business. And it is coming. And I really think that what's going to make a comeback is personal websites, because on YouTube, you're not even going to know what is AI and what is not anymore. The only way you know that somebody is authentic is the stuff on their website, because basically they're telling you, well, here's my video, I made it, nobody else can copy it, that's me, right? Everything
Right.
else is just going to be like, well, we don't, because YouTube isn't going to really know how to check if it's AI or not.
Yeah,
You
they
still
already
have,
ask you in your upload, like, does this have AI shit in it? Like, are
yeah,
you
but
trying to be somebody else? Like, yeah.
everything's gonna have AI shit in it. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna do something in Premiere Pro or Adobe, and it's gonna be like, why would I manually edit this when I can just have AI edit it for me?
Bro,
So
Walmart has fucking AI now, man. I was in Walmart the other
mm.
day, and dude, I bought, what was it? I bought some item, and I bought 3 of them. It was like I don't know, let's say it was like a box of cereal or something, right? They're
Yeah,
all the same thing. So I was at the self checkout and I picked up one and scanned it 3 times, right? And then like boom, put it in the bag, and then I reached into my cart, took the other 2 that were in there out and put them in the bag. And then like it froze up on me and it was like, please ask for service or whatnot. And somebody immediately came over and like hit a button and it showed a replay of what I did. And it was like, please verify that this is correct, because it saw me take items from the cart and put them in the bag instead of scan them. So it thought I was
jeez.
stealing. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, that is all intelligent shit right there. That like
Hmm.
this was just watching and being like, that didn't look right. Like, and I'm kind of offended, but I was like, at the same time, like, if you're gonna do self checkouts, I guess like you got to watch out for that shit. And like that's kind of it's crazy what they're watching and like what it can do. Like it can
Dude,
tell my movements, and if my movements look suspicious, I'm
yep,
like that's crazy, man.
100%. And like, dude, I was in China, and I was like, I remember I got up, I was like full hungover. I'm going downstairs to like ask about breakfast and stuff. And the elevator door opens, and there's legit a robot in a suit, and he like steps to the side, lets me go through. I'm just looking at. I started videoing it to show my missus. I'm like, what the hell is this? And
Dude,
he's full
wow,
talking to me.
man.
He's like, "Good morning, sir." Da 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 da. You know, like, because in Australia you don't have that stuff yet. But I don't think people realize like the robots are coming. Like they are coming. They're probably gonna cost around as much as a car, but honestly, like it's gonna happen in our lifetimes, and it's gonna be so interesting. So back to what we were saying, I think that with everything happening, one of the reasons I started TCM and I'm doing this is because I know that actually a lot of people are going to have to start standing on their own 2 feet in the digital world, right? Like, this is what it's going to become. Even if you have like a small shop, you're not going to go to like go buy a building where you pay the lease for the next 5 years in order to sell something. Everything that's selling like fruit and toys and everything, that's all going bankrupt. You're gonna have a stream where you sell products online on stream. That's how it's gonna work. Your shop is gonna exist online, which most people already have that, and then you're gonna like instead of like standing out there and doing auctions or telling people come take a look, we've got sales. You actually be doing that online. So let's get into monetization and trust. How do we actually make this happen and, continue living in this first world digital era that we're, really getting into? So, first of all, like, how would you order the income streams? Let's say subscriptions, ads, donations, sponsors. Maybe there's something else as well in there. How would you like from best to worst order those?
Like income wise for me, like the like top to bottom,
Yeah,
like and how important
a-
they are to me.
and how
Like
easy
I
it
think
is.
yeah, I would say like number one is like YouTube views are probably like those are most important, and not necessarily for profit per se, but because of like the algorithm associated with it. And if you make good content, your content gets suggested more. It's like, YouTube has one job. Speaking of like brainless, AI that knows, it's like, okay, this is what we have to do, right? YouTube knows that it has one job. It's a website, and it wants people to stay on it because it makes money through ads.
Mm,
So it tries to reward people who make good content, and it has its own way of determining what's good content. And it's very simple. It's, did people click on your video, and did they watch a significant portion of it? And if the answer to that is yes, it assumes a couple of things. It's like, okay, well, this isn't a no clickbait video that people are just clicking off from. It's interesting, and it's keeping people around so that we can show them ads. Like, this is great. This is exactly what we're hoping for. So you must have a good video. I'm going to suggest it to more people. Right. So, like, making, like, for me, good content that people want to watch is not only rewarded by the YouTube algorithm, but it also is right in line with what I want to do as a creator. Like, I want to make good stuff. Like, I want to make something that when I put it out, if a Coooley video drops, people are like, holy shit, I got to watch this. Like, I know this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be epic. But so it's very important, for that regard, because the better you do, the more it will suggest you. And, then essentially that can lead to the more views per video you get, the more you're worth to sponsors. So, that's another piece. Like, people are, they have options as a sponsor. Someone that wants to put an ad in a video, they have a couple of things that they can do. They could They could pay money for YouTube to just show their, randomly their ad or their video that they want to submit. You can promote it like that, and it will show it in front of videos like it's a regular ad or in the middle of it, right? And they actually charge quite a bit per views, like for people to do that. For cheaper, companies can approach creators to talk about, their product or service or website or whatever in their video. But there's a trade-off, right? Like if that creator gets, 1 million views per video, that integration is obviously worth more than someone that gets like 10,000, right? So like the YouTube views and making really good content is, I'm incentivized to do that as a creator. It's like the best thing you can do is get good, like make good videos, make entertaining videos. So like YouTube views, I put that as a top priority. Like make good content, make people want to watch what you put out, reward them, being like, okay, when you click on a Coooley video, it's going to be entertaining. I'm putting my all into it. It's going to be worth your time, right? Like, and then that just leads to other stuff. And there's obviously a whole nother end of it with like streaming and viewer support and all of that, which is kind of boils down to, as a creator, the same thing. Like if you're putting on a stream, it's a different form of video. You're just doing long form video. And if you make it entertaining and people get something from watching it and feel good being there with you, they'll be around for longer. Sometimes we're lucky enough and people are generous enough to donate and, and subscribe and become members on YouTube and stuff. That's all good, but it all boils down to that one thing. Make good content that makes people want to watch.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that YouTube is slowly becoming saturated with AI?
I think people are trying to do that, but I honestly think that YouTube is trying to fight back to some degree, like in the sense of like some AI content is suggested more than others. I think YouTube understands at this point that the power of AI and what it can do, and the possibility of fake videos that look so real.
Yeah.
I think they're aware of that. But believe it or not, dude, YouTube, a lot of people don't know this, has incredible detection capabilities. Like not just for audio, like if you use a song in one of your videos that's copyrighted, YouTube can tell right away as you a lot of times as you upload your video, it's like, this song is, you don't own it. But what they don't know is that they can also do that with video. Like they can tell, even if you try to get creative and change something, they can tell that a certain piece of your video was used in you're using someone else's video. And how do I know this? I have two channels. I have a Korean channel where I convert my audio and some of my visuals to Korean and, using my voice, and then I'll upload it to that channel for Korean viewers. Well, guess what happens? My main channel will get a notification to be like, this person's video looks very similar to yours. Like this part of it looks very similar. It's very likely they used your video for this. And it's like, would you like to do anything about it? And I'm like, the fact that you do this is immediately when I upload this video on this other channel is scary. Like of all of the Diablo content out there, Diablo 2 and everything, I've even changed visuals. I've done this, and it's like, this video is a little too close to yours. So it's like, if they can pick that out, what else can they do? And can they recognize? I know for a fact that they can recognize AI. They can tell when a video, at this point in our AI history anyway, they can tell when it's made by AI. So they do kind of have some domain and control over it. Like they can also tell the topic. They can tell what you're talking about. They, so they can put all of the pieces together and say, this video is made by AI. It's created with AI. It's talking about this sensitive topic. It's talking about these things. It at least has the power, even though it's not doing it right now, to add context to tell you that like this video is made by AI.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's way deeper than most people know.
Maybe for now it can. So I actually work with Google a lot because a lot of stuff runs on Google's cloud for big enterprises. And I work with a lot of the AI kind of specialists as well. Um, Honestly, yes, they can tell it's AI in some cases, but AI is it's going to get to a point where you can't really tell because in the end it's just pixels. There is no
Right.
real defining factor that it is AI. And I think that's why they have to ask you when you upload, right? That's otherwise they wouldn't. So it's
I think it's
interesting.
there as a safety check. They don't have to. Like, so for example, they also ask you questions that they don't really need to ask you. They can tell.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, they ask you when you click to monetize a video, they say, please tell us what's involved in this video. Are you talking about sensitive topics? Do you swear? Like, are
Mm.
you bleeping your swears? They don't need to ask that. They can tell. Like,
Yep.
they transcript my video. You can tell what I'm saying,
They're definitely going to
So
be trying their best. Everybody is. Because I think if your social media platform can't at least do a decent job at telling if it's AI or not, like let's say you get, 70% you can tell, you need that. Because if you can't tell at all, you're going to get like outdone by the ones that can. Because
right.
the AI saturation is going to get very, very serious. I'm actually trying to figure out how to incorporate it. We had like this brilliant idea. I think if anybody's out there, feel free to try something like this. But we're like, look, we're seeing all these AI generated computer builds, and they're really like clickbaity. You click on it, and you're like, you see it, and you're like, holy shit, what's that? You click on it, and you're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
AI, whatever. And we don't want to like saturate our real stuff with the AI stuff, right? But then I realized when we were looking at it, I was like, shit, we should build one like that. We should build one like that. We could build one like that. And I realized, you know what? Let's just put out these like AI computer builds. And these, we don't have any right now on our channels, but you'll know exactly that it's AI because we're going to say, we will, the one of the most likes, we will build it. Like we'll actually build that AI generated computer, bring it to life. And now you're starting to see like AI
Yeah.
designed computers, and this starts to get so
Saved you money
cool.
with
Like,
the blueprints and all of this and the
yeah, I'm
design,
like
and it's
full
like, yeah,
excited.
that's crazy.
So that's gonna be really
So
interesting. I can't wait
yeah.
to get that on track.
Before we get on to the next one, I got Lilith. Is there a bathroom I could use around here? Do we? All right, I gotta. Yeah, it's.
Come this way.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna jet over to that real quick. I'll be back. Can't
I'll
make any
meet you
promises as to
there.
what's gonna happen. All right, baby. All right. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's
All right, man. I'll
take
be
our
right back.
time.
Sure.
Sounds great. All right, I'll BRB, man.
Yeah. Everybody that's kind of still here, thank you for staying, and I hope you're enjoying the show. There is a canon game at the end of the podcast for kind of the people that are, you know, enjoying the show. And there's $100 USD prize for the canon game. So usually when we don't do a podcast, we play the games every single hour, and it's always starts at 4 p.m. Central Time. And then every hour, there's a winner that we give prizes to. So yeah, it's like a little carnival, digital carnival, and we'll be playing right after the podcast. We'll also read Coooley's tarot cards. I think this is a pretty long session, but I'm really enjoying it. I spoke to Coooley yesterday a little bit while we were testing things out, and we just couldn't stop talking to each other. So I knew this was gonna be like really deep and long. Anyone that like can't see the full thing, it'll be on our YouTube Pro Gamers Journal, and we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep getting like all of the pro gamers. That's like our mission now. We can. It's like a cartoon. It's like a cartoon, and pretty much we think we can get multiple streamers in as well
We back. Thanks for
at
that,
the same
Lilith.
time.
Jesus, I needed one of those. I mean, it smells nice in that bathroom. You guys did. You guys built this place real nice, man.
I'm washing my hands.
All right.
So
So
it wasn't clean enough for you? I thought you used to dead shit, man. I thought that'd be the cleanest thing you saw all week. Yeah, hell yeah,
I
man. I
drained
appreciate
it
that.
good.
Man. Okay. All right. We were talking about as well sponsors and partnerships. So obviously you're like YouTube's the backbone, and then you even get sponsorships off your YouTube, right? Bigger the YouTube, bigger the sponsors. How do you decide which deals to actually take? Like, how do you ensure you stay authentic, keep your audience's trust, and still earn like a decent revenue?
Yeah, that's funny, man. That's something they don't teach you when you do this, right? Like it's kind of something you're building the plane as you fly, right? Like it's kind of crazy. Like when I started up making YouTube videos, I would have never thought that another piece of the puzzle would be negotiating contracts and figuring out what an ad is worth, and and all of this. But I'm lucky to the point now. I should say lucky. Maybe it's lucky. Maybe it's lazy. I don't put out a lot of videos, mainly because, like I said, I like to give my all into a video, and I really like to think about it, write scripts, and all of this. So I don't put out videos at the same volume that a lot of people put out. But it also means that my time slots are kind of restricted for sponsors, and I'm lucky, at this point where I get a lot of requests for sponsorships and all of this, and I can kind of be picky, which is good. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. Is you kind of have to look through and be like, first of all, does my audience even care about this? Right? Like, is there any value in it for them? First and foremost. But second of all, and this is how I look at them, is like, are people going to stop watching if I don't deliver this? Like, even if I deliver this perfectly, are people going to stop watching? Because it's not good when they do that, right? Like, it's not good if they skip over an ad. Like, it cuts into the watch time of the video. And going back to what we were talking about, like, if they skip over or stop watching a video, it doesn't send a good message to YouTube to be like, oh yeah, this is a good video and we should suggest it to more people, right? So you have to make sure that the product that you're talking about, or whatever you're talking about, at least has some value to your viewers, and that it can be delivered in a way that makes sense with the video, that isn't like an awkward stop moment in time. So it's like, I get picky with that. I'm like, I only do ones that are germanely related to gaming. Sometimes, like, especially with TCM, like, very related to what I'm talking about. It just fits in perfectly. And so I can get picky with that. But at the end of the day, there's still that person that back in the day that was homeless, right? That's like, okay, what if this sponsor that I don't really want to do wants to pay me way over the rate, like, and that's also something. I have my fuck you prices, what I call it, like, where if I don't want to do one, like, I'm like, yeah, okay, no, like, I won't drop any names, but I've done this with some people I didn't really want to do. But like, you give them the fuck you price, and it's like, I don't actually want to do it, and and some of them have just like said yes. They're like, okay, yep, we'll do it. I'm like, well, oh shit,
That's
now I
silly
gotta
though,
get
right?
creative.
Because they're getting a video that's super high priced, and they're gonna get an ad that's not like the person doesn't really want to do it. So that, yeah,
Well,
I
still, I
have,
mean, they know that I'm gonna put, no matter what, I'm gonna put my all into it, and I'm gonna try to make it watchable, and like, try
yeah.
to entertain people through it, which is good. But a lot of times, and I think why certain sponsors will pay, is because I've learned over time that the Diablo audience in particular is a very passionate and unique one. That, going back to what we were talking about with D2 and Diablo games being at the heart of a lot of ARPGs, and ARPG players, much like what you were saying, sometimes just wanting variety in their games. They
Mm,
see that and they know that, okay, we kind of need to hit this audience, and it's a very specific, very, very good audience. And,
yeah.
so sometimes it could be worth more than the price tag for them to get a message in front of specifically that audience. So when you're in that spot, I always try to think of it as like, it's not just a random company that is messaging you. It's someone who needs, like, they're trying to do that. They want you to do your best to get their message in front of your audience. So it's like, you know, if it's worth it to them, to the people that I don't want to do it, I will do my best, and like I'm going to give it my all, and, you know, do my research. And, you know, that's another thing. It's like I will actually just straight turn down some companies. I have turned down even I wouldn't even offer someone the FU price before, like, you know, crypto shit. Like, you know, I don't really like, that's not something I've had huge offers from crypto to plug it in. I'm like, nope. Like that's just too detrimental to an audience. Yeah, it's just too detrimental. Like, I don't want anybody watching a video of mine to ever have an experience where they get like rug pulled or something, like, you know, or they really feel like they were slighted. So like there's some people that I won't even give the FU price to, like, you know, the crypto people that would reach out, never once. I'm just like, no, I don't care what you pay. Like, I'm not going to do it.
So with all of this in mind, right? Like, I mean, I guess it goes for itself, but is the income that you're making through your content, is it fully enough? Like, are you just set, or do you still need to think of stuff that you got to kind of do on the side to support yourself?
It's enough for me. Here's the thing though, is it's like uncapped, right? So like theoretically there's no ceiling. So, you know, I'm lucky to be in a spot where like I don't, you know, I could go a number of months with no income and I'd be fine. You know, like
Wow.
that's fine. But, you know, and it's not because I make so much with, you know, with YouTube or whatnot. It's just that in the times that have been greater than others, I think I've made good decisions. I've always been good with money, and, you know, I've just made some good decisions to set myself up pretty well. And, you know, so I'm not in a spot where I would like need to, you know, get a sponsorship, or else it's, you know, I won't be able to pay the bills, or, you know, I won't be able to make things work. Oh, look at this. Ever since now we start talking about money. Now Lilith, you're showing your gender over here, okay?
How much would you spend for a night with me in real life? Don't forget my wings count as 2 extra limbs and can form a love cock.
We'll talk after the show, okay?
Lilith, please behave. Honestly, what the fuck?
Yeah, Jesus, man. We can discuss the details later. All right. Jesus. Wow.
She's uncontrollable.
All right, but no, that's all right. Yeah, you can stand here though.
So in our deep dive, right?
I enjoyed the deep dive so much.
Oh my god. All right. We discovered something interesting.
She's out of control.